amazing releases, and we look forward to his upcoming tracks, Pillar to Pillar. That's his album that's coming out very soon. His first release we debuted on Sunday, and we look forward to playing many more as they come out, as he features the 5 pillars of Islam and many others as well. New work from most of the artists you will hear on a Sunday Lounge between 10 and 12 o'clock. But speaking of Sundays, this Sunday, April 6th, there's been a call to action for all artists and creatives happening between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. A wonderful time for Durban. That's our Sunday beachgoer time, and you're out, you're looking for something to do. And here we are giving you a fantastic opportunity. Don't worry, you're not walking kilometers and kilometers. You've been invited to join in solidarity with the people of Palestine in the face of the ongoing genocide and occupation, as well as to protest against the institution of the Durban Holocaust and Genocide Center for its silence regarding the genocide in Gaza, and therefore its failure to live up to its own mission statement, which is to raise awareness of the evils of genocide and to teach about the dangers of indifference, apathy and silence. How appropriate is that particular line? So joining me today in studio is one of the organizers behind this particular call to action, to just shed some light on it as well. For the benefit of our listeners, we're also live streaming on Facebook and YouTube also, and we can watch it later on. Do share it with you, far and wide, with your friends and family. Michael, welcome to Radio Al Inside. Great to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Such a pleasure. Now, we were chatting just before this. Tell us a little bit about yourself, firstly, your own personal background, and what would make you want to get involved in a cause like this.
So I'm a filmmaker. I'm a writer and director. I work in documentary, feature film, across mediums, also experimental films. But over the last few years, I remember back in university days, I met this professor who began kind of unpacking the history of the occupation of Palestine to me. This was 2014, 2015. Wow. And it sent me on a journey that I have yet to return from, and of which I'd never want to return from, is people who have been occupied and brutalized by an occupation that is still ongoing. And that was my journey. And in terms of how I've migrated that or translated that into film and into my own art, has been a journey in and of itself. And this is a kind of further journey of understanding how my role as a filmmaker can be a voice to speak into this injustice.
Absolutely. And you see it across the world. You see so many people, like you see it with, if I can say, with Huda Beauty, for example, and she comes to mind. You see it with makeup artists. You see it with fashion designers on the runways. And no matter what field you may be in, you can have an impact. You can create awareness in that particular field. You've seen it with doctors doing it at one point with the scrubs that they're choosing to wear. So many are trying to do it and making political statements in different sort of ways. And I think that's so important. But Durban isn't new to protest action. How is this particular call to protest any different to what we've seen already?
So this specific, the space in which we're trying to create this Sunday is obviously, firstly to say, as you've said, is to stand in solidarity with Palestine. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to say, before I came in here, I just got off the phone with a friend. His family, they are currently in Gaza, and the situation it's beyond words, and that conversation just reinforces the need to step out of our comfort zones and to stand in solidarity. So that's the first thing. The second thing is a call to artists. It's and when I say artists, I mean professional crafts people, of painters, photographers, musicians, poets, etc. But that word professional is just a label. I think everyone is creative, and I think the word artist is just a way in which human beings have learned to express themselves. So it's really a call to everyone to express their solidarity and in some ways their outrage, and in some ways their feeling of not being able to do anything to express it creatively. In that, I think, if I may say this as well, that in Durban, I really believe that we have a lot of incredible and talented artists who I think need to stand up now, and their work needs to say something, and it's a call to those artists to be present and to be visible and to let their work count. And lastly is specifically here in Durban, we've got the Durban Holocaust and Genocide Center, which I know is also part of a broader institution They've one in Cape Town, one in Johannesburg, and in kind of an international association, which by and large, their mission statement is, just essentially, loosely translated as you said, of spreading awareness of essentially genocide and injustice. And we think that their silence in regard to the genocide in Gaza, which has been unequivocally defined by the United Nations, by lawmakers, policymakers across the world, their silence speaks volumes. And we can recognize, for myself, my academic background and my artistic background can understand, and any human being can understand, a museum or an institution like that is a public space.
For sure.
And what that means is it's for the public to come and reflect, and the public to come and remember. And we cannot be selective in that remembrance. And I think that in many ways, the silence is, it speaks to that selective remembering. And what we're calling for, and on a broader level, what we're calling for is to be on the right side of memory. And regardless of political views, they are an institution that has an institutional mission to be a public space of remembrance for society, whether they agree or not. If I may say so, that we have drafted a memorandum. Wow. And we have engaged with them, and I'm very happy to say that on some level there is engagement with them, and myself and some of the organizers will be having a time of dialogue with them at a later stage. I'm not sure how that's going to go, but I do know that our hearts are open, and I hope theirs are too, because we really do need to be able to sit in the same room and engage not for the sake of our beliefs or what we think is right, but because there's humanity at stake. There are lives at stake. And so this is why I feel like this is something different, not because we want to be different, but because we've just seen a gap and we want to run into that gap and be present in it.
I love that. I think that's so beautiful because you raised some important points. Number one, you mentioned about that being selective about who you're choosing to support or who you're choosing, not about support even, it's what you're choosing to create awareness of, or your standing or where you're choosing to stand. And also at the same time, how important dialogue actually is today. We take that for granted.
Exactly.
A simple conversation could happen at a supermarket. It could happen with your local butcher. It could happen just on the roadside, maybe just at soccer practice or something, and you happen to meet a parent that may be not aware of what's going on, and that's your opportunity to just engage with people. And I think that is so underrated. It's not done enough because we somehow don't want to have those uncomfortable conversations, but I think it's so necessary. And in your field, I'm sure you're meeting and engaging with people all the time that may have differing views to your own.
Exactly. And I think what's really important in film for me is that we are inundated with images on a constant basis, and we never before have we had so much access to seeing suffering. It literally can take me 5 seconds to see some of the worst things.
They say it's the first live stream, Jim. It's live stream.
It's the first live stream genocide. And what I think is the challenge for artists and for myself in film is to struggle with the idea of the image, and what that means is that when you sit down with someone who has potentially the opposite ideology to you or worldview, online you can sit and say whatever you want, but I think when you can create space like this protest, or you can create a film, a poem, some form of context for human connection, you can sit with whoever it is and actually engage. And your point is never to make them believe in what you're saying. It's to have that human connection, and you hope that will go somewhere. Yeah, absolutely.
So do tell our listeners, what are the plans for that time? What can they expect, and what do they bring, or what are they expected to do?
Great. So as you said, Sunday, the 6th of April, that's 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And you will see people there, some signage when you get there. We're essentially where the entrance is to the museum. We're just going to be a little bit around the corner, but we've said the entrance because it's easier to understand. And really what it is people are invited to firstly bring their own materials, their own tools of creative expression, whether it be a journal to journal in, whether it be a canvas to paint on, a guitar to play music, a poem or whatever that may be. They're invited to come bring your blanket or your mat or your chair. Come and sit there and create. Our theme is being on the right side of memory. So potentially in that vein is to create something along those lines. And alongside that, there will also be pre-planned installation works done by an incredible artist who's part of the organizers. And she has put together what I can essentially call as a response to, the providing context and factual evidence, but not just factual evidence, but I think visual evidence of what is lacking in the museum institution. So people will be able to participate in that, reflect on it. So the space will be for your own creation as well as engaging with what's already there. There will be some activists, poets, and academics who will be speaking. There will be literature on sale. The amazing Ike's bookshop has come through. And there will be some information on boycott literature and understanding all of those dynamics. And if I can just say this, it may sound strange because I don't know if something like this has been done in Durban before. It's like, from 9 to 1, what are we going to... Can I invite you to just come? And the emphasis is essentially your presence is what's powerful.
Sure.
You may come there for an hour and just sit and reflect on what you see. That is powerful. You may be inspired to write something, to journal something, to write a poem, whatever that may be, but that expression counts for something. So that's the invitation to come and be present.
Oh, awesome. Come and be present. All artists and creatives, who can be anybody, will be gathered outside the center for an active live action protest art. I like that. Protest art. And my mom is an art teacher. So I know she got very excited because now she's thinking now automatically, what is it going to be? Like some graffiti, or they're going to paint some live something. Yeah. Or perhaps it would be under the theme, choosing to be on the right side of memory. So you're invited to interpret the theme in light of our principal solidarity with Palestine and creatively present your work on the street directly outside the center. There are no restrictions on the medium you use to express yourself on any skill level to which you find yourself at. Just bring whatever you need to creatively protest against this injustice. Michael, thank you so much for your time. It's been wonderful. All the best for Sunday. And when I'm on air on Sunday, we'll be sure to catch up with you guys and call in.
Fantastic.
Definitely.
Thank
wonderful.
You so much.
All the best. That was Michael from the team behind Call to Action for All Artists and Creatives. It's happening this Sunday, April 6th, between 9 o'clock and 1 o'clock. If you want to contact anyone, can I give out your details, Michael? Yeah? Okay, you can contact him 073 305 9934. 073 305 9934. You could also find Siraj Abrahams. You know him all well. You can contact him as well, or Sabah. We can send you the details if you just pop in an Al Ansar WhatsApp, and we can send all those numbers and details to you. Please do forward this particular interview as well to your friends and family on Facebook and YouTube to make sure you create the awareness about it as well if they are around on Sunday. Coming up next, we speak to Brother Yusuf about the upcoming South African tour with those 4 esteemed scholars that will be gracing our shores very soon.
Looking to book your next holiday? Make your way to one